Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
What's up?
We're looking at new Rockstars, Shang-Chi breakdown, Easter eggs, and details you missed. This I am very excited for because new Rockstars is always making some interesting predictions, and one of them was regarding Shang-Chi's connection to What If, and I really want to know what Eric Voss said after seeing Shang-Chi and like how he feels about that connection he was trying to make now.
Yeah.
And not only that, of course, but like breaking open a bunch of stuff that maybe we don't know about, that we sort of went over on our live stream spoiler talk this morning, but I'm sure we barely touched the surface of it.
Yeah.
Thank you, new Rockstars, for allowing us to react to this. Very, very much appreciated. Y'all, if you missed the live stream this morning, it's available for playback. If you want to hit that link in the description or just wait for the end, it's going to be there for you, or maybe in a pinned comment. Who knows? We'll see what happens here. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon, all notifications, and please, please, please vote this video up. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and Shang-Chi in the Legend of the Ten Rings introduces a new Avenger to the MCU,
Yes.
deeply rooted in mystic mythology, unafraid to pose cryptic questions about the monsters in the shadows of our dimension, and the wonderful weirdos Wong has been hanging out with. I'm gonna break down this film scene by scene for all the deeper layers of meaning and the Marvel Easter eggs that you might have missed. The film opens on the black flag of the Ten Rings, the army of Wenwu, played by the great Tony Leung, who possesses the Ten Rings. Now, the Ten Rings organization has appeared in the MCU since the beginning. The terrorist network who kidnapped Tony Stark in the first Iron Man, the operative who aided Ivan Vanko in Iron Man 2, the weapons buyer in Ant-Man, and of course, iconography appropriated in Iron Man 3 by Aldrich Killian and the false Mandarin, the paid actor Trevor Slattery, who actually returns in this film after being extracted from Seagate Prison by forces of the true Mandarin in the 2014 short film All Hail the King, now viewable on Disney+.
I'm
very
surprised
cool.
that they were allowed to show that still from the movie. There was literally like a bootleg screenshot of the film to say he's in this film. Did you catch that?
Oh, like the one that they used?
Yeah, there was a bootleg screenshot of him from Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are with that kind of thing, but anyway, I never heard of this short film.
No, that's
happy
super
to watch
cool.
it.
Yeah.
But here on this flag, the Ten Rings logo has had its central weapons replaced with the hook swords used by Wenwu's warriors. And within each of these rings is a character from an ancient Chinese calligraphy known as seal script. Going from the top, it means power or authority. Clockwise to the right means physical strength. The third means strong or robust.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a lot of these translate to some version of strength or power, kind of like the Ten Rings. What's up? The fourth means extraordinary, magnificent, or great. The fifth means hero, heroic, or outstanding person.
Okay.
The sixth means power, influence. It's also associated with the male genitals. The seventh means large, extensive, great in the literal sense. The eighth means powerful or grand, and also refers to things that are male. The ninth means strong or powerful, and the 10th means pump or power.
Is he
now,
being-
Wenwu himself
Is he being funny or is he being serious? I can't tell.
No, that's what the words mean.
No, but about like the male things. That's
Well, yeah, because in certain languages, like I don't know any Chinese languages, right? But in some languages, there are words that specifically describe male things, and there
Okay.
are words that are ascribed to female things.
it's YouTube.
Yeah.
I just expected jokes, so okay, it's
I
serious.
mean, he did make a joke,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
based
serious.
on the Iron Man villain of the Mandarin from the Marvel Comics, later renamed Zheng Zhu, but he's also kind of based on Shang-Chi's traditional father, a character known as Fu Manchu. Yes, another bit of very problematic history that Marvel has retconned over the years. Now in the comics, the Ten Rings are an ancient alien MacLeod technology, each containing the
yeah,
spirit
someone was
of
saying
a
that in the chat.
cosmic warrior, giving each ring a different ability, but here the film reconceives them as equally powered wrist bracelets, evoking the iron strength bracelets of Chinese martial arts like Hung Gar. The Mandarin in the comics found
Oh, that's
the fluid
cool.
rings in the crashed alien spacecraft of Axon Kar, and later on in this film it is said that Wenwu might have found them in a crater or a tomb, but
Yeah.
it's never confirmed, though it looks like the post-credit scene starts to go more into their origin. Now in the MCU past, Ten Rings members Raza and Jackson Norris bragged about the Ten Rings' history of conquest in the Asian continent.
The bow and arrow once was the pinnacle of weapons technology.
It allowed the great Genghis Khan to rule from the Pacific to the Ukraine.
He was a warrior king. Inspired generations of men through the Middle Ages.
And now we actually get to see that history, as Wenwu whips his 10 rings into a shield that deflects all enemy arrows. The previous pinnacle of technology now being supplanted by his. And I love this shot where he extends his rings, hovering from his fist like a collapsible baton, just like we saw Norris use in All Hail the King. Now the film returns to these extensive flashbacks throughout the narrative, so for now, just to stick with the chronology, Wenwu travels through a bamboo forest and discovers a clearing guarded by Zhang Li, Fa Le Chen's character, who duels him in this beautiful acrobatic ballet with movements that are actually based on Tai Chi. Contrastingly, the combat style of Wenwu, and the style that he trains his son and all of his warriors, is based on Wing Chun, a traditional southern Chinese kung fu, but Zhang Li's style reigns supreme as she knocks him off balance.
I love that aspect of the fight scenes. I didn't know exactly what styles they were using. I had a guess. I thought he was doing some kind of kung fu, she's doing some kind of Tai Chi. The Chinese martial arts styles, I don't know all the names very, very well. I studied a little bit of wushu and a fraction of Tai Chi, but like what I did notice was how her movement completely contrasts his. His is like aggressive, hers is more of like kind of using his momentum against him.
Yeah, totally. And I, especially the second time round when I was really trying to pay attention to the fight, I loved that they were completely different because it just says a lot about their characters too.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you often don't find in fight scenes in the States, that you will find in Hong Kong cinema, or at least classic Hong Kong martial arts cinema, where your opposite fighters have opposite styles.
Right, and it makes sense for the character as well, because that's who they are.
Her fighting style incorporates airbending, something the people of Ta Lo seem to be skilled at, and it gives them a special connection to the earth that Wenwu's mastery over tech that is actually alien from another world can't really compete with. She's literally on her home turf. It's a lovely story that we get to see, and it's a genre referred to as wuxia. You may have also seen it in titles like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It refers to mythological romances set amidst picturesque natural landscapes. The cinematographer of this film was Bill Pope, who actually shot The Matrix, and you can see the parallels in the warm color tones in the wire work and the way Zhang Li dodges the rings almost as if in bullet time. Now the rings glow blue whenever they're used by Wenwu, contrasting the golden colors associated with Shang-Chi and his mother and her people. Blue is a colder color tone associated with death, since that really is how Wenwu uses these rings, whereas gold is associated with sunlight and life. Wenwu gives himself a chance at life by locking his rings away, giving up immortality, falling in love with Zhang Li, and having 2 children, Shang-Chi and Zhai Ling. Their mother gives them both these green pendant necklaces, but the fun comes to an end when Wenwu's former enemies find him, the Iron Gang, and they attack while he's away, killing Zhang Li. Now, it is interesting that they are called the Iron Gang, and Iron Man is a longtime enemy to the Mandarin in the comics, but that might just be a parallel I'm seeing. So in his grief, Wenwu returns to his rings, gets his revenge, and brutally trains his son into a killing machine.
ACHARA?
Yes.
When you were at the theater, you said someone kept snapping photos.
They were like texting or something. What a bitch.
No, you said snapping photos. That was definitely the story.
No,
so I'm asking if that was Eric Voss, essentially, who was sitting next to you at the theater snapping photos, because there's a lot of bootleg photos in this thing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, totally. If he was like a Hispanic lady, then yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just making sure we're on the same page.
To follow in his footsteps. And he does this with the help of his lieutenant, Death Dealer, based on the killer Death Dealer Li Xinling. In the comics, Wenwu orders Shang-Chi to kill the head of the Iron Gang, and Shang-Chi never returns home afterward, leaving his sister behind. Bringing us to the modern day in San Francisco. Shang-Chi, going by the name Shan, played by Simu Liu, lives in a garage, and there's a poster on his wall for the movie Kung Fu Hustle, a martial arts action comedy, a must-see, which also features the use of iron strength bracelets. He and his friend Katie, played by Awkwafina, work as valets at the Fairmont Hotel in a fun fake-out, since if you think about it, several other Marvel heroes have been introduced as owners of nice sports cars as opposed to the people who park them. Shang-Chi eats breakfast with Katie's family, but on the way in, outside the building, there's a poster reading Post-Blip Anxiety, You Are Not Alone, National Blip Support Hotline. I guess kind of like a post-Endgame version of what Steve Rogers had in Endgame, but now this for people going through the kind of trauma Monica Rambeau went through at the hospital, or that poor Midtown High tuba player who got tackled. There's also a poster for something called Blip Sync, which, according to interviews with the screenwriters, is a dating app for those who were blipped. Good luck getting them to be honest about their ages. He mistakenly sits in the seat of Katie's grandmother's late husband, and Katie and her mother debate the importance of superstitiously clinging to the memory of dead loved ones, which is our first hint at this movie's deeper theme of ancestral grief. Shang-Chi, as a character, wants to escape the bloodshed of his ancestry, while his father lets his grief drive him mad and threaten to spread literal soullessness across the world. So Shang-Chi must learn to channel his pain from his father into something different, something positive, which is an idea director Daniel Destin Cretton said was key to his own journey of self-discovery while crafting this film. These rings symbolize that ancestral weight, dragging Wenwu down, but when transferred to his son, they change color and become a force for good. Katie tells Shang-Chi about her art of confusion defense tactic, which is randomly singing the Eagles Hotel California. Ironically, Katie and Shang-Chi work at a hotel in California where they may feel like they, in the words of the song, can check out anytime they like, but they can never leave. Now, they sing Aladdin's A Whole New World in karaoke, reflecting their escapist fantasies.
I didn't even put together the fact that they work at a hotel in California and they love and she loves the song Hotel California.
I didn't either. It comes out like a couple times in the movie
song
as well.
Yeah, well, naturally, but like I completely forgot that they worked at a hotel. Like, that's so silly that I should have been able to. I've heard that song so many times because that's one of my mom's favorite songs.
Yeah.
So it's
really, an epic song.
Yeah. And I also didn't catch that Kung Fu Hustle poster.
No, I didn't.
Find a whole new world. But then in the post-credit scene, they hilariously come back to Hotel California with Wong. Because as I said, there's no turning back. They're now trapped in this Avengers Crisis world, and they can never leave. Katie and Shang-Chi get jumped on a bus with amazing stunt work that keeps your eye on the real object of this fight, not Shang-Chi himself, but his necklace. Meanwhile, in the early rounds of the fight, you'll notice Razor Fist glowers at them from the back of the bus, with fighter Florian Montianu playing the assassin from the comics. Watching this all go down is comedian Zach Cherry as Clev.
He's great.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Clev coming at you live on the bus. I actually did take a little bit of martial arts as a youth, so I'm gonna try and grade this fight as we're going.
This same guy previously appeared in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, shit.
He told Spider-Man to do a flip.
Okay, Spider-Man, do a flip. Yeah!
And then after that movie came out, Zach Cherry went on Stephen Colbert pushing a campaign for Do a Flip Guy to get his own MCU spinoff. So it's awesome to see him come back here. Now look closely at the comments on Clev's live stream. They include at Capiopia saying these dudes are regretting their life decisions. Then at Anti-Darkness saying unreal with a purple background. This could be Auntie Agnes, aka Agatha Harkness, often clad in purple.
What?
Not really sure what her reality is because at this point over in Westview, she's stuck in a trance after Wanda Maximoff left her there in the WandaVision final episode. And then there's Climbing Guy 3000 who says, I literally can't even. This could be an alias of Peter Parker, who loves climbing, and he could be shouting out the guy who loved us 3000.
Right.
You'll also notice how several of the commenters praise Shang-Chi's fighting skills, calling him Bus Boy, which is a bit of viral fame, similar to how Peter Parker initially got the attention of the whole world and of Tony Stark in online videos just like this. And he was a boy literally also saving a city bus. And after he takes down a few of them, the extra award goes to Jean Jacket here, who crosses her arms until the guy falls and her eyes bulge out at Shang-Chi. Now, contrasting the more stylized fight choreography of his elders, Shang-Chi's combat is more practical and slapstick. He uses his jacket, he springs off the elasticity of the bus joint bellows, all parts of his environment to subdue his foes. This style was made famous by Jackie Chan films, all coming from this movie's stunt coordinator, the late Brad Allen, who was a member of the Jackie Chan stunt team and receives a lovely tribute in this movie's credits. And you can see more of this intricate stunt work later in the scaffolding fight. Shang-Chi uses the planks balanced on the bamboo to both swing himself down to the lower level while seesawing it to knock someone in the head, and then later knocks down an enemy to turn that person into a bridge to run across and then knock them down. It's all like a big elaborate game of mousetrap. It's super fun to watch.
Yeah, that fight in particular, you watched it again. How did you feel about it the second time watching it?
I enjoyed it more actually the second time. I enjoyed a lot of things more the second time, but I just kind of noticed more of the intricacies in the fight. But I know your qualms with it.
Which are what?
That it felt a little slow. Like it felt
Yeah.
a little bit like rehearsed as opposed to
Right.
being an actual
Yeah.
fight.
Well, the thing is, there are moments in that fight that don't feel the most organic. They just happen. And I think that's my biggest gripe with it, watching it a second time. Well, I mean, I watched it once when they put it on YouTube, and then I watched it in the theater. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see exactly what my issues are, because it's not the best fight in the movie. It's actually probably the worst fight in the movie. And I don't mean that in like it's a terrible fight scene. What I mean is that when you stack it against the other action sequences in the film, that's actually not the best one. There's other stuff that's way more exciting in the film that happened.
Which I feel like we already saw. Like right from the beginning, we see the one with his mom and dad,
Right.
which was beautiful.
And the bus.
And then the bus scene was incredible.
And the stuff that happens after that as well, right? So, yeah, in that fight scene, it's like the very first thing that happens is this guy swings down and then sort of kicks Shang-Chi, but not really, and then Shang-Chi has a reaction and moves. Like, everything that happened in the fight didn't feel like a fight scene, but sort of like, oh, we gotta do this now, oh, we gotta do this now.
So more of like a cool choreography. But saying that though, I really liked the way that they used the environment.
Yes.
Like that was really fun for me. And the detail of him using the guy as a bridge, I noticed the second time round, and I really enjoyed that.
Right. And so all that stuff are probably inspired by Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Right? And most likely it's inspired by Jackie Chan. But what was missing is the Jackie Chan isms of personality. Like, a lot of that stuff wasn't quite present as much as it needed to be, whether it's the bad guy taking a hit or Shang-Chi having a reaction of some kind.
I mean, I think they tried, but yeah, I see your point.
But back to the bus fight, it all goes down in 3 acts. The second act begins as the bus enters the tunnel. And notice the camera stays on Shang-Chi from the exterior of the bus as he works his way down it from right to left. He throws dudes out the window, just kind of mows them down, paralleling the
Old boy. I was just about to say old boy. I was literally about to say it as he was making that analysis.
This hilarious crisis of Katie having to take the wheel. Now, as Razor Fist slices the bellows, look carefully, because at first you can see the necklace around Shang-Chi's neck, but then he turns his back to us and Razor Fist starts moving his other hand around. And then when Shang-Chi kicks Razor Fist into the back half as it tears off around the turn, and he leaps at us into the front half of the bus,
that explains everything.
Shang-Chi's neck is bare and his necklace is now gone. And that must
I
have
was like,
been the
when
moment
did that
Razor
happen?
Fist snatched it, but Shang-Chi doesn't realize it until later. Now,
Yeah.
at dinner, their friend references the blip when she says they live in a world where anyone can disappear at any moment. So again, yes, this is set after Endgame, and notice how Shang-Chi wears a Silmar High School shirt that on the back says Class of 2017. So if 10 years have now passed since Shang-Chi ran away when he was 14 years old, if he graduated in the year 2017, that would set this movie in July 2024 by the Jazz Music Festival ads on the bus, setting this at almost exactly the same time as Spider-Man Far From Home when he was in Europe, and also allowing us to conclude that Shang-Chi, to be this old, must have survived the snap and must have had to age during those 5 years. Shang-Chi follows a postcard leading him to Macau, along with Katie, to this cage fighting club owned by his sister Xialing, but operated by Ronnie Chang as John John. This club is called the Golden Daggers Club. Now, the Golden Dagger was a name from early Shang-Chi comics, Master of Kung Fu number 44, and it was the name of one of Fu Manchu's subsidiary groups. Now, in the various...
I wonder if every time he says Fu Manchu, he just has a little death inside.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
A little cringe inside. Like,
It's kind of awful.
I have to say this, god damn it. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a white guy saying this too. This might be the least annoyed I've ever been with Ronnie Chang. Because I'm just gonna be real, I don't enjoy watching him, generally speaking. My brother is apparently a big fan of his. I just get very frustrated watching him.
Right.
And I don't laugh. I'm just like, but here, he fit this role perfectly. He was perfectly cast. So good job casting for Shang-Chi.
Low-level fights in the rooms in the background is a sumo wrestler. There's also a female warrior. We know stunt actress Jade Ju returns in this movie after she played a Black Widow agent in the movie Black Widow.
That's what
And in the
Zentel
credits,
was talking
she is
about.
credited as Widow, meaning she is the same character from Black Widow, which might be why she now wears black with a red belt. And she must be one of those freed Black Widows from the Red Room, and now she's fighting in Macau. Give her a spin-off. There's also a fighter with flesh glowing red-orange, apparently a recipient recipient of AIM's extremist treatment from Iron Man 3, suggesting that some of Aldrich Killian's test subjects might have gotten away from that battle.
Wow, I've only
One
seen
of
that
them
movie
now has his
once.
life fighting in cage matches on the other side of the world. But the marquee match, of course, is Wong, Doctor Strange's fellow sorcerer, fighting Abomination. Now remember, Abomination was Emil Blonsky, Tim Roth, who fought the Edward Norton version of Hulk and Harlem in the 2008 film, and we believe has been imprisoned ever since. It is amazing to see him return in the MCU here. This version of him looks different with a greener color and head fins. He also wears pants, similar to his appearance from the comics. But this change was never explained. I presume the way Hulk's redesign between the 2008 film and the Avengers wasn't really explained either. But Wong does call him Emil in this movie, so it is the same character. After Abomination actually hits Wong, Wong gets him back by opening a portal to make Abomination knock himself out, similar to how Wong used clever portal tricks to beat Big Boy Cull Obsidian in Infinity War. Later, the two appear to retreat to what looks like a facility that looks like it has a high-tech containment cell.
Yeah, I was
in
wondering
there.
what that was.
Maybe where Blonsky is being forced to stay when he's not sparring in Macau with Wong. This facility could be the Raft Prison, or some other facility overseen by Thaddeus Ross, because maybe Blonsky is being allowed to train as part of Ross and Val's upcoming Thunderbolts initiative, and maybe they only trusted Wong, this sorcerer, to be his chaperone. Meanwhile, Shang-Chi fights his sister. Behind him is a flag that looks like the flag of Madripoor, the fictional Southeast Asian country that appeared in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The postcard, we found out, was sent not by Xialing, but by their father, a trick to trap both of them in the same place at the same time. Shang-Chi fights the Ten Rings warriors on the scaffolding and fights Death Dealer until his father appears and lays a gentle but terrifying ring-equipped wrist on his shoulder. So they all return to the Ten Rings compound, where Wenwu reconciles the MCU's past depictions of the Mandarin legend with his truth, laughing how Aldrich Killian invented the Mandarin boogeyman identity, naming it after a chicken dish. And we actually see on his video screens footage of Tony Stark's captivity by the Ten Rings in the first Iron Man film. Wenwu plugs Shang-Chi and Xialing's necklace pendants into the eyes of the wooden dragon carving in his shrine, causing water to flow out and mystically bend, revealing the path in the bamboo forest maze that will lead to Ta Lo, Zhang Li's hidden kingdom that he was never allowed to enter, and where he now believes her soul to be trapped in a cave, voices calling out to him. Now, in the Marvel Comics, Ta Lo is one of the God Realms, a small pocket dimension adjacent to Earth, the great canopy of heaven, home to celestial dragons, and the phoenix-like Feng Huang, the wooden Quilin beasts, and the canine-like Hete, and the race known as the Jian. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of that. And surviving in this compound's dungeon is Trevor Slattery, Ben Kingsley, serving as the Jester. He recaps what he went through in Iron Man 3 and in the All Hail the King short, and when they stumble upon him here, he was quoting the knock 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 monologue from Shakespeare's Macbeth, the drunken porter from Act 2 Scene 3, and in that scene, the porter imagines himself as the man answering the gate of hell, reinforcing one of the themes of that play, that the castle setting is really a form of hell for the characters. And
I don't actually really remember that scene very well, but yeah, the themes of hell and madness and all of that were all very prevalent in Macbeth.
for Trevor Slattery, this is a speech that amused Wenwu enough into keeping him around, which is super ironic since Trevor ends up as a supporting player at this movie's Hell's Gate as it opens. Also, fun fact, Palpatine actor Ian McDiarmid played the porter in the famous 1978 production that starred Ian McKellen as Macbeth and Judi Dench as Lady Macbeth. He's accompanied by the adorable Morris, whom Katie calls a chicken pig, but Morris is actually a DAGGERS from Chinese mythology associated with the personification of Hundun, a legendary faceless being of primal chaos. This guy actually appeared back in Wenwu's research journal in the movie's opening minutes alongside sketches of several other mythological beings who later appear in Ta Lo.
Okay.
What?
This movie goes to such great lengths to appeal to like Chinese culture, and China says it's not. I forgot what the article said, but basically it's not jingoistic enough for China.
It's not national. It's not nationalistic enough.
Yeah. For China.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's hitting all the points, isn't it? It's actually pulling from actual like Chinese material for inspiration.
They break out and steal Razor Fist's car, and since we never hear his name spoken aloud in the movie, the fact that his name is written all over his car is really the only way we learn his name. Using Morris to guide them through the bamboo forest maze until they reach Ta Lo, where Morris reunites with others of his kind, and they see lots of other mythological creatures, including the Huli Jing, that's a nine-tailed fox-like creature, the Fu dogs, these are the the big lion-like creatures that guard shrines and temples in pairs. These are also known as guardian lions, and Wenwu actually has statue versions of them at the gates of the Ten Rings compound.
Those lions were actually my favorite of the creatures that were there.
They looked really, really good.
Just because, not because of like the CGI or anything like that, but just because that reminded me so much of Chinese culture.
And the vermilion bird, representing the element of fire. And that turquoise horse with the face of a dragon is the Longma, which really just translates to horse dragon. Seeing one of these is supposed to be considered an omen of a legendary sage ruler, which if you think about it, both Shang-Chi and his sister Xialing will evolve into by the end of this film. The Ta Lo people are led by Guang Bo, played by Yuen Ma, legendary Hong Kong actor and stuntman who worked with Bruce Lee in the 1670s with films like Fist of Fury and Enter the Dragon.
Wow.
And the popularity of Bruce Lee in particular is one of the big influences of the Shang-Chi comics of that time. Among the people of Ta Lo is Michelle Yeoh as Jiang Nan, Lee's sister, who explains how they are connected to this benevolent dragon that they call the Great Protector, who for them has fought off a demonic entity from another realm that, along with its smaller tentacled drones, feeds on souls. Now the creature is only ever given the name of Dweller in Darkness, and Nan explains how it fed on their vast cities that spanned alternate realms beyond this world. This is the beast trapped behind the seal who has been in Wenwu's head, disguising himself as the voice of his deceased wife, which is similar to Lovecraftian monsters like Cthulhu and Nyarlathotep, who form psychic telepathic links with mortals, driving them crazy. Nan says the Dweller of Darkness promises your greatest desires, an oddly specific Faustian offer, which could link with the cosmic dark magic of Peter Parker's wish fulfillment spell in Spider-Man No Way Home, and the pulsing beacon inside the Ten Rings that Wong discovers in the post-credit scene could be setting up a supernatural interdimensional threat that the Marvel heroes will face in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. A villain like Shuma Gorath, or one of the other tentacled elder gods, or the demon Cthon, who drafted the Darkhold and in the comics initially cursed Wanda Maximoff with her sorcery. Or maybe a figure like Nightmare or Mephisto, of whom this beast could have been a weapon of their making. Also, this week's episode of What If brought back that mysterious interdimensional tentacle monster from the pilot episode, really the first continuity we've seen on that series, and we've only seen just one part of that giant creature so far. It was one of many mystic demons from other realms that Doctor Strange absorbed. Could these creatures be linked to the one we saw in Shang-Chi? Well, while not everything we see on the animated What If series will cross over into the live-action MCU, this definitely parallels Shang-Chi's hints of this demonic tentacled monster from other realms trying to absorb life forces, and it would not surprise me at all if Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness ends up establishing this soul sucker and the What If monster as part of the same family of elder god-esque beings, if not the same creature. The seal, we learned, is formed from dragon scales of the Great Protector.
I think that's totally plausible. I think that would be a smart move to just kind of link it all together like that. And then maybe we'll get Shang-Chi in the Multiverse of Madness.
Maybe.
Dragon scales also form the armor and the weaponry of these Ta Lo guardians, and Shang-Chi receives his comic-accurate suit, a fabric made of these same scales, which, along with Xialing's new clothes, were left to both of them by their mother. And Nan carries that legacy of her sister by training Shang-Chi in that Tai Chi style that his mother used to defeat his father Wenwu, by opening up his fist into an open palm, and setting up Shang-Chi in the final battle to defeat his father using that same kind of dance and beautiful eye contact that we saw in that earlier scene. Also, in this training dojo here, the base of it is windy and serpentine, the body of the Great Protector.
This is a very, very persnickety thing, and I don't know what they called it in the script, but the word dojo is of Japanese origin. So for that, I would probably call a temple or something like that, or just, I don't know.
Did he call it a dojo?
Just now, he called it a dojo.
Oh yeah, but that's probably just Eric Voss using something, a terminology that
right. But I mean,
quite understand.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna be all like Asian Karen and shit about this, you know, persnickety and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm just saying. It's like, it's not a dojo. A dojo is a Japanese word. At least that's what I understand. Like in Taekwondo, for instance, we were always corrected. It's not dojo, it's dojeng, which is the Korean word for, whatever, martial arts school or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Dance and beautiful eye contact that we saw in that earlier scene. Also, in this training dojo here, the base of it is windy and serpentine, the body of the Great Protector, showing how in this setting they are bound by the dragon's protection. They train up to brace for this fight with Wenwu and his forces, who arrive, leading to this vicious battle between the Ten Rings and the warriors of Ta Lo. The father and son face off, but Wenwu blasts Shang-Chi into the water and begins hammering away at the gate, allowing soul suckers to leak into this realm. One of them snatches Death Dealer, and the two warring sides decide to join forces against these soul suckers because only Ta Lo weaponry works against them. Meanwhile, deep in the water, Shang-Chi awakens the Great Protector and reconfronts his father at the foot of this crumbling seal. Now, after Shang-Chi failed to defeat his father using the same Wing Chun combat that his father taught him, this time he disarms Wenwu the same way Zhang Li did, using the more graceful Tai Chi movements.
Wing Chun is Ip Man, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as I understand it, Ip Man created Wing Chun.
Yeah.
That is a real fighting. No, that's not true. He used Wing Chun.
It was created by a woman.
It was created by a woman.
Yeah.
Who was, I believe, named Wing Chun. But Ip Man popularized it and taught it to Bruce Lee.
More graceful Tai Chi movements, bending the rings to his will. And seeing that his great love lives on not in the imposter from beyond, but in the grace of his son, grace that persisted despite Wenwu's best efforts to stamp it out. Wenwu learns the core lesson of this film of ancestral grief, that the pain of our past isn't reason to destroy, it's fuel meant to rechannel to bring life. And I would argue, despite this being a pretty strong origin story for Shang-Chi in the MCU, as a whole, this movie is less of the story of the hero, but like other great Marvel films, like Avengers Infinity War, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Black Panther, this is truly the story of the villain with a complex soul. Wenwu is truly the heart of this film.
Yes.
It makes it a more captivating story, in my opinion.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Slattery hilariously plays dead, Morris joins him, all while the rest work together to take down the Mega Soul Sucker, including an amazingly lucky arrow hit by Katie. They send lanterns out on the water to memorialize the fallen, and they leave it to Zhai Ling to dismantle the Ten Rings network, but as we learn in the second post-credit scene, she actually takes over the throne and expands the Ten Rings operation to return in either a sequel or a Disney Plus series. I personally hope to oversee a fighting tournament of eccentric fighters from the MCU. Katie tells their friends over drinks that Shang-Chi defeated the monster by doing a Kamehameha fireball. Of course, not the Dragon Ball Z, and yeah, that is kind of the move Shang-Chi used to kill it. And after not being believed by their friends, Katie and Shang-Chi are summoned by Wong to join them in a Sanctum Sanctorum, where in the post-credit scene, they meet Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel, learn of the pulsing beacon in the rings, all of which I went into in another video. But I love how the closing image of this film has Shang-Chi joining Wong through a portal ring, a way of showing how when these rings glowed blue, they were heavy burdens chaining Shang-Chi to death, to the pain of his father. But now, as they glow golden, they represent a magical gateway to another world, to life for this future Avenger.
As usual, it's very, very thorough. I am shocked at how many images were used from the actual film. I'm just like there, image after image of bootleg video or whatever. However they snapped it. I don't know if they like.
I think it's out there.
I don't. Oh, is that what it is?
I'm sure it is. But like, you guys, if you're thinking about doing that, if it's not available yet to you, I know, like, yeah, you want to watch it, but it looks so crappy. Why would you do that to yourself? Like, just
not everybody appreciates quality.
Just wait.
The way you and I came up watching stuff, we care about that experience, that theatrical experience. There's a lot of people who don't care about that, just like we care about physical media. Most people coming up now don't care about physical media. They don't. There's lots of kids who don't even know what a CD is. The majority of people who are going to see the film are probably going to watch it through streaming.
Sure.
And
that's fine. Like, at least like have it look nice.
Again, they don't care. They just want to see it. What's the big fuss about? That's it. But I do agree with you though. I think that the better way to watch it is the theatrical experience with the audience.
And hopefully not an audience where some lady is sitting there on her phone. I wanted to go up to her and be like, lady, this is a good movie. If you didn't want to come, like, leave.
Are you sure it wasn't Eric Voss? Just like click,
Just
click.
in a wig.
I gotta get this Easter eggs and details you missed video out, man.
Yeah. No, it was really nice. Like I liked the explanation of like the different styles and the mythological creatures.
Well, that was
and
my
stuff like
thing.
that.
Yeah, when he was connecting it back to like actual Chinese culture and their mythology and the creatures from like Chinese mythology and whatnot, I like that was cool because I didn't know about that stuff.
I recognized them. Like as soon as they popped up in the movie, I recognized them, but I didn't know their names. You know what I mean? Like I grew up watching this type of like Chinese soap opera-y type stuff.
But
so.
I didn't ever encounter a chicken Pumbaa. You know,
A chicken Pumbaa? It's a chicken pig.
Isn't Pumbaa a warthog?
Oh, that's true.
I never encountered a chicken Pumbaa before in any of like my perusings of Chinese culture and whatnot.
Nope.
So the fox, the nine-tailed fox.
The nine-tailed fox.
That
is
I mean, that's
classic.
something we've seen a lot.
Yeah.
Right. But the big lion creatures being brought to life, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
So that's why I was so like hyped when I saw that. I was like, well, that's dope.
Yeah, they looked really cool as well. Like the whole Ta Lo just looked really fun.
Yeah.
I could have them explore more of that.
I'm really glad that he mentioned how this is basically Tony Leung's movie because, like we said in the live stream, Tony Leung and Awkwafina were, for me, the characters that just stole the show.
Yeah.
You know, it really, they had the most interesting stuff going on while Shang-Chi had all the dope action.
Yeah, no, that's true. And like the thing is, Tony Leung's character, we can understand where he's coming from because it's all about love, right?
Well, love and grief and pain, yeah.
Grief and pain, yeah. But it's at the root of it is love, because why do you grieve? Because you loved that person.
Right.
If you didn't love them, you wouldn't grieve, right?
Yeah.
And so it's something that we can all understand, and there's this feeling of redemption as well. Like one of the bits that like was really tugging at my heartstrings in the movie was when Wu is sitting there in his chair and he's kind of talking about his late wife, and he's saying how, you know, she made him believe that it was possible to give all of that up and to be a good person and to live, you know, a good life with her. But then when she got taken away just like that, suddenly he was like back in all that rage and everything.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, you know, he not only did they take away his wife, they like took away his optimism and his, you know, belief in good in the world.
Right.
It sucks.
What I also appreciated in this video from Eric Voss was the connections between the other films that I would have easily missed, especially because I haven't watched the Hulk, you know, outlining the differences between the Abomination here. I almost said Abominable Snowman here. Abomination here versus in Hulk. I haven't finished that movie. I watched like the first 30 minutes and I meant to go back to it, but just haven't gone back to it. I have it on 4K Blu-ray just sitting there. And the guy in the bus, connecting him to Spider-Man, because I completely forgot about, you know, the backflip guy, hot dog person.
Oh yeah.
You know, I didn't remember that at all. And there was the connection to Iron Man 3 I thought was pretty neat to discover. I'd seen that movie once in theaters, so there was no way I was going to make that connection on my own.
Which connection?
One of the fighters in the cage, the Black Widow.
Yeah.
You know, she fought this guy who was
Yeah.
basically a survivor from Iron Man 3.
That was cool.
So, like, uncovering that detail was pretty neat. I didn't catch that it was a Black Widow lady, and I didn't catch that it was a guy from Iron Man 3. It's really cool that he made that connection to Old Boy. I did not make that connection until he started to explain it. Once he started to explain it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing it also. Oh boy.
You got so excited.
Yeah, because that's the most standout part of Old Boy. That and the ending.
Yeah.
You know, in Old Boy, it's like that. Everyone knows that tracking shot, that fight scene that I think was all one long take.
Yeah.
And it was visceral, and so it had a similar effect here. Some of it was sort of lost behind the structure of the train.
Yeah.
But still, like, you felt that, and it was pretty neat. You know, seeing people come through the window and stuff like that.
Yeah, I loved that part in the movie, like just in terms of filmmaking. I thought it was so cool because it's almost like you're a voyeur just on the outside, right? And it feels so visceral when he's going through there. And yeah, I thought that was genius, that part.
I guess the last thing I want to say, and I'm only realizing that I should have said this because of Travis Wong's podcast, the Jam podcast, Joining All Movement, youtube.com/Joining All Movement. He has an interview that he conducted with Chris Cowan, who worked on Shang-Chi, doing, I don't actually know what his role was on Shang-Chi, but he basically shoots action. You know, he helps to design and shoot action. And so he was key in a lot of the action sequences in Shang-Chi.
Right.
Brad Allen gets all the credit. What he should also get credit for is the people he hired and brought on to make this movie as dope as it is in terms of the action.
Sure.
Right? And so it's not just Brad Allen, but it's his team of people, including, I believe, Andy Cheng, who is someone who I used to hang with at Los Angeles Valley College. He was part of Jackie Chan's stunt team. Brad Allen was also part of Jackie Chan's stunt team. And so, yeah, it's like Brad Allen took the time to hire the right people.
Yeah.
And so I'm just basically, in a nutshell, trying to say I'm acknowledging those other people that helped to create those amazing fight sequences.
Sure.
Including Chris Cowan. So, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Also, subscribe to New Rockstars if you haven't done that. Vote this video up. Check out ACHARA KIRK on the social media and our other reactions, reviews, short films, vlogs, and interviews. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.